Climate change are being felt around the world this summer. Greece saw its most severe heat wave in 30 years. And now there are wildfires on the second largest island of Evia. More than 2,000 people have been evacuated from there. Our Europe correspondent Bethany Bell is in Evia and sent this report.
Fires rage on in Evia. It's been a week and they're still not under control here. Greece is experiencing its worst heat wave in decades. The searing temperatures and scorching winds mean these forests are like a tinderbox. The flames leave behind a ghostly landscape, white with ash.
The fire swept through these hills, killing the trees. And this is what has been left behind, wreckage and destruction. The ashes are still smouldering. The ground beneath my feet is hot from the blaze.
Vangelis has come to check up on his family's farm. It belongs to his son-in-law, who's off fighting the fires. Their flock of 2,000 sheep and goats used to graze on this hillside. Now, all lost in this disaster. He says he's never experienced a fire like this before.
Climate change, in my opinion, is hurting the entire planet, and especially these forests, which are flammable. The authorities certainly haven't handled this very well, but the fire was our destiny. No one could have put it out.
Dozens of wildfires have broken out across Greece in recent days. The Prime Minister says climate change is to blame.
It's obvious that the climate crisis is now knocking on the door of the entire planet, with fires that last weeks. This is a reason, but it's not an excuse nor an alibi, and I will say it clearly. We may have done whatever is humanly possible, but in many cases, this did not appear to be enough in the unequal battle with nature.
In some areas of Evia, the fires only stopped when they reached the sea. Many locals say they've been abandoned. They say the authorities haven't done enough to protect the forests and their homes. And with temperatures rising, there are fears of more wildfires like this in the years to come. Bethany Bell, BBC News, Evia.
Meanwhile, a huge wildfire in Northern California is now the second largest in the state's history. The Dixie Fire has been burning for more than 26 days and more than 5,000 firefighters are trying to contain it. The burned area is bigger than the city of Houston, Texas. Joining us now from Los Angeles is the BBC's Barbara Plett-Usher. And Barbara, the governor of California says this is a climate-induced fire. Just how challenging is it for firefighters to bring it under control?
Hugely challenging, Laura. In fact, it's only 21% contained and it's been burning for 4 weeks. Firefighting aircraft have now been able to join the battle again. There was a pall of very thick smoke over the area in recent days, so they had been grounded. Now they're back in the air. But that smoke had been keeping the wind and temperature down to a degree. So that means now that the smoke has lifted, that again, the fire activity could increase. And what observers are saying is these fires are not normal, not what they're used to seeing. They're larger, they spread faster, they reach higher, they do much more intensive damage. And maybe this is the new normal. There doesn't even seem to be a fire season anymore. People here are saying maybe the new normal is a fire season all year round.
And Barbara, in the wake of this UN report, US officials are saying the time to act is now. But what's the Biden administration actually doing to meet this really ambitious goal of reducing net carbon emissions to zero by 2050?
Yes, that is very ambitious. There are three main sources of greenhouse gas emissions in the States. One is vehicles, another is power plants, and a third is leaks, methane leaks from oil and pipe lines. And that's significant because methane traps way more heat than carbon dioxide. So the administration has done the most work on the first, vehicles. It has announced goals for making electric cars. It has the car companies on board, and the Biden administration has also reinstated some of those fuel efficiency regulations that President Trump rolled back. On the second, the power plants, that's more complicated. You remember, Laura, that President Obama had a clean power plan where the states would have to shut down the coal-burning ones and start with wind and solar power. That's caught up in the courts. It's been challenged. So it's not clear what the way forward is on that. On the methane, again, President Obama had put out regulations that companies needed to check and fix their pipes, any leaks in their pipes. President Trump rolled that back. My understanding is that Mr. Biden's administration can reinstate that without too much trouble.
And Barbara, California is a coastal state. It's not just the fires, it's the rising sea levels too. What is it doing to protect itself against that?
Well, broadly speaking, California has really been a pioneer in climate change policy, Laura. In fact, it was the driver of U.S. policy on things like emissions and electric cars and so on. And remember, it was in the courts with President Trump administration for many years. Now it's pretty much on board again with the Biden administration in terms of the overall approach to trying to lower or keep the temperatures from rising. When it comes specifically to fires, the policy talk here is about rethinking the way fires are done. So the forests are very dense. There's a lot of underbrush. So they want to start to have occasionally have prescribed fires that burn out this extra fuel. There's also talk about limiting development in these areas where the fires take place, but that's of course very controversial.
Barbara Pletasher in California, thank you.
Free folks in the Northwest where more records could be broken. Steph?
And it's time now to check your Tuesday morning front lines. New York City will open cooling centers today through Friday to help people beat the heat. The heat index, the feels like temperature, if you will, is forecast to reach dangerous levels as high as 105. New Yorkers can dial 311 to find a cooling center. City pools will also stay open late this week. And southern Wisconsin gets more of what it doesn't need. Heavy downpours left as much as 1 2/3 inches of rain in Madison on Monday. Over the past week, parts of southern Wisconsin, particularly the La Crosse area, has collected a ½ foot of rain. And fierce thunderstorms are giving people in southwest Florida quite the light show. Just shy of 2 inches of rain from this downpour in Bonita Springs. The Naples, Fort Myers region could see more of Mother Nature's stormy fireworks today. Not only today, but with that tropical entity coming over the weekend. And a heartbreaking chore for the 800 or so people who live in Greenville, California. They're sorting through the wreckage left behind by the Dixie Fire after it gutted much of the town last week. The massive blaze covers 482,000 acres in 4 California counties, the second largest wildfire in state history. And it is, still in that 20% range contained, guys.
Yeah, it's only August, too. All right, so we head to Alaska next on our week-long series, Building Solutions.
Yeah, a remote village harnesses the power of a wild river with this nifty little contraption right here, instead of actually damming up the waterway. So we're going to show you how it works at 20 past.
It looks a little like the bottom of a pontoon boat, doesn't it? And the Western Drought cutting off hydropower for one major California reservoir. Water levels fall so low that electricity can't be generated. At 40 past, what this could mean when customers flip the switch at home.
Oh, so devastating. All right, when we go through these big heats, these heat bubbles, and, like Stephanie was talking about yesterday, it doesn't even have to be in the 80s, 90s, or triple digits. It can be in the 70s, and that car heats up dramatically. So we have heat alerts from the Northwest, middle part of the country, and even into the Northeast. We're all going to be tapping into this August warmth, and it's going to be brutal for some of you. So you've got your little peaks of ridges here. Your high-pressure ridge continuing to dominate the south. There's a little dip here, but basically that just means this ridge is going to continue to move across the country over the coming days. Here are the highest dew points. So you get east of the Continental Divide, and you lose the dry air. Yes, it's a dry heat out west, but this could be some of the biggest problems. When you have dew points in the mid-70s going all the way up past Iowa, that means temperatures, really doesn't matter about what the thermometer says anymore. It's all about the feels like temperature. You look at the heat index value, because the thermometers are going to be in the 90s. And on an average day, you're like mid-90s isn't really all that bad. But when you have these higher dew points, now we're looking like we're feeling like we're in the triple digits. And for some spots, you could surpass 110 heat index values. So Omaha at 108 today, or 103, St. Louis at 108. Of course, this continues into tomorrow as well. Memphis, you start to get into the dangerous zone by about 11 o'clock in the morning. And so it is a pool day, to say the least, if you're going to get the kids out and about or get the sprinkler going. Because other than that, you're going to want to be tucked inside. Here's Thursday, once again, triple digits, smashing all the way up into Boston and into the Northeast. Also, the Northwest, you're going back into the upper 90s and triple digits between Seattle and Portland, which is why you've got the excessive heat warning in effect for later this week. Steph?
It's time now for your front lines in 3 countries. We're going to start you here in the U.S. First, flames from the Dixie Fire flank firefighters as they drive through Plumas County, California. This blaze now covers an area half the size of the state of Rhode Island. Containment has inched from 21 to 22%. The Dixie Fire has burned more than 800 buildings, and thousands more remain at risk. Let's have a look at all the active wildfires, and there's still so many, 102 of those greater than 100 acres, basically the Rocky Mountains westbound. And then north of the border, firefighters in British Columbia are bracing for a new heat wave. Temperatures in the Canadian province are expected to surge from the 80s today to near 100 by the weekend. This fire you're looking at here, the 137,000-acre White Rock Lake fire, has been raging since mid-July. And then we take you into South America. Firefighters are battling a new blaze that's smoldering on the marshy fringes of Brazil's Amazon. It's burned 2,500 acres since it began on Sunday, and crews are desperate to avoid a repeat of 2020 when fires destroyed more than 5 million acres of the Amazon. Jim and Jordan, what's coming up next?
All right, we head to Alaska next in our week-long series, Building Solution.
Yeah, a remote village harnesses the power of a wild river with this contraption. Instead of, damming up the waterways.
I want one of those.
You're gonna see how it works at 20 past. This could be great new technology.
And a landmark new climate report warns humanity that alarm bells are ringing, and they've been ringing, and now it's time to act. But what if we don't? At 40 past the hour, a look at the consequences if the ice melting and the sea level rise continues.
Yeah, the big thing you want to know is what happens if we hit 2 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, I'll paint me a picture of 2 degrees Celsius, which doesn't seem like much, but it is. Out the door into the southeast, hot, steamy, increasing chances of showers and thunderstorms as we work our way through the afternoon. Places like Tampa, you'll see that chance of storms, temperatures in the low 90s.
Ugh, look at Little Rocket.
All right, thank you, Dr. Gupta. Good to see you. All right, several tornadoes ripped through the area along the Wisconsin-Illinois border. I mean, scary stuff.
Man.
I mean, look at the way it just picks up the debris. Obviously, if you are near that, you run for cover.
Storms are coming through. Called my wife, and she said it's starting to get bad here. And then I came home and talked to her on the phone and hurried home and saw the cops out front. So it came rushing, I parked in front, and everything's pretty much gone.
He's in Sycamore, Illinois. That is a heart-stopping moment, isn't it? The air traffic control tower, even at O'Hare in Chicago, was evacuated because of the storms. That says something. More than 74 million of your fellow viewers, or heck you, in the middle of the country, you're under severe weather threat again today. Of that kind, Bob, or no?
Yeah, no, I think it's going to morph a little bit differently. I don't think we're going to get the tornado outbreak we had yesterday. We had 16 tornado reports at least yesterday. That number may grow, but today, about the same spots. Here's the way it goes. A yellow shaded area, slight chance of severe weather. Now, brand new this morning, orange shaded area, Milwaukee, just outside of Chicago, enhanced risk. But the main threat today, it's not tornadoes, it's gusty winds. And these winds with the straight lines could be as much as 75 miles per hour. And the timing on that is late this afternoon through the evening.
Okay, Bob says he expects tropical storm warnings for the U.S. Virgin Islands. I know we have some viewers there.
Yep.
For Puerto Rico, I know we have some viewers there. And later on this afternoon.
Yeah, they're going to start feeling the effects this afternoon. Later this evening, too. The tropical storm warnings are in place. Let me show you the way it looks. Here's the latest satellite imagery of this potential tropical cyclone number 6. Not a depression yet, and it doesn't look that healthy on the satellite, but it looks like it could do a little strengthening as it moves into the northeastern Caribbean. So the blue shaded areas, Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgins, British Virgins, parts of the Dominican Republic under a tropical storm warning. Watches are in yellow, including Turks and Caicos, southern Bahamas. Let me show you the GFS model. That's the American model. And I'm going to pause here about 5 o'clock this evening. That's when it's near Puerto Rico with heavy rain lashing through. That's this evening. Then overnight tonight and tomorrow goes right through the Dominican Republic and Haiti, travels right into areas like the Florida Straits over the weekend. So this is Saturday about 4 p.m. Still offshore, having a hard time picking up a low-level circulation. That's good. It has a lot of land interaction, a little bit of dry air out there, but once it gets here to the weekend, it could get into the Gulf of Mexico and strengthen up just a little bit. So National Hurricane Center, here's their thinking. Goes right across Puerto Rico later on this evening, and you can see where it goes. By this weekend, very close to that Florida coastline on the west side, possibly 60-mile-per-hour gusts. So that is something major that we're watching over the next couple of days. Also, severe weather threat. We're going to have that today. I'll show you that in just a bit. Let me share this picture with you, though. You talk about humidity. Here it is. Look at the Peleus cloud on the top. What's that? It's that high, thin canopy you see right there, made out of ice crystals. The big cumulus cloud builds up, pushes air out ahead of it, and it forms into that nice cap on top. That is a pileus cloud.
That's something new to me.
I'm a scientist. There you go. More details on all that stuff coming up in a half hour.
All right, find out how easily you can pull up a bed.